Hey you guys, so my name is Tanisha, but you can just call me Nisha, and I am back to do another review on the movie Civil War. So I did get to go see it. It is out in theaters. I will tell you that I actually like this movie. I would personally rate it a 7.5 out of 10. And if you are new to my channel, I will always give a brief synopsis of what the movie is about, and then I'll give you my own personal perspective and opinions of the takeaways that I got or gathered from the movie. There are going to be spoilers, so if you are going to see the movie, I would recommend that you save this, come back and compare your notes once you've had a chance to watch it yourself. So let's go ahead and get into a brief synopsis. So there are 4 centralized characters in this movie. Joel and Lee have just finished one project that they're working on, and their goal is that they are going to make their way to DC, which is apparently a dangerous road trip, so that they can get to the White House with the intention that Joel will interview the president and Lee will photograph the imagery that they see along the way. As they are at the hotel regrouping for the night, they run into another journalist that they have known for a while who is a vet in the industry, and his name is Sammy. Now, Sammy is an older gentleman, and he also has asked for the opportunity to tag along with them so that he can go and witness this experience. While they were out in Brooklyn, Lee runs into a young girl, which I'm not really sure how young of a girl she was. She might have been, I would say, 18 to 20. They don't really state her age, but while she was out filming, there was this bomb that went off, and she saved this girl named Jessie. And as she's at the hotel, Jessie has followed Lee to the hotel, letting her know that she knows this is a hangout spot for journalists. As she looks up to her because Lee has the same name of one of her favorite journalists that was really renowned a long time ago. So as they have this brief conversation, Lee just, thanks her and tells her, she can keep the item that was given to her, and she leaves and she goes up to her room. Next morning when Lee comes downstairs, she thinks that it will just be Joel and Sammy along for the ride with her, and she sees that Jessie is now a member in the car, which she has a huge problem with because Jessie is a young girl. So this starts and embarks their road trip on to DC after Joel and Lee have exchange of words about bringing Jessie along for the ride. And that's where I'm going to stop the story because I want to get into specifics about what I took away from this movie. I didn't go into this movie with a lot of expectations of wanting to be informed about something. After watching Leave the World Behind, I presumed that this would also be another movie that you would have to build your own perspective and opinion about what is happening based on what is being inferred rather than what is actually being communicated and told to you. But there are a few things in this story that are very clear, which is the country is in a civil war. There is a group called the Western Forces, which comprises of California and Texas, who have teamed up together. And then you have pockets of other forces or groups who are loyal to the president, and then other little pocket pop-up type of organizations along the way. The second thing that they are very upfront about is that this president is in his 3rd consecutive term. Now, I'm not a big politics person, but I know enough to know that a president in the United States can only serve 2 terms. So in my perspective, I believe that this is possibly what could have been the straw that broke the camel's back. Obviously, there's a lot of turmoil that's already going on anyways, but now you have a president who has a controversial 3rd term, and some people do feel that he gained this 3rd term through illegal practices or through some type of maybe coup, I don't know. And that's pretty much the 2 things that we get up front, that we know for sure, that the president is in his 3rd term and he is fighting those who are fighting against him, the Western forces who are going to descend upon the White House and execute him. And then you have other pockets of people that you'll meet along the way who are just out here probably just winging it and just doing what they feel like they want to do because there is no societal standard anymore. It's kind of whoever's got the power and the ammo, they're running it in that area. I want to go ahead and get into my takeaways of what I thought about the movie. Number 1, I could not stand Jessie. My first initial reaction to her when the movie concluded was that she was the Wicked Witch of the West. This girl had absolutely no concern for the people that she was going along this journey with, nor did she have any concern for herself. She was reckless, she was irresponsible, and while I could say that she was a child, so a lot of this was just childishness, I feel like some of these choices were intentional choices that she was making, and she didn't care that people were sacrificing themselves literally one after another to save her. But then upon second reflection, I kind of blamed Lee a little bit for the way that she was behaving, and even still, I kind of wrestle with it, but I'm gonna tell you why. Lee, in the beginning, was supposed to be like this hard-nosed, this is how we do it, and this is why if you're gonna come, you gotta have tough skin, you gotta be thick, nobody's gonna be checking up after you. As she had freaked out in one of the scenes that she saw and witnessed a person basically dying, she was crying about it. Lee was like giving her this tough rhetoric, and Sammy's in the back seat, and Sammy's like, you know, leave her alone, she's just a kid. And no, she needs to learn that she's going to do this, she needs to toughen up, she needs to have thick skin, she needs to understand that nobody's going to be out here babying her through this process. This is the opportunity that she chose. She needs to rise to the occasion. Hear Jesse in the back seat say, you know what, you're right, this won't happen again. Now, it didn't register for me that when she said it won't happen again, that's exactly what she meant, because moving forward, she didn't give a damn about what was going on or who was at risk or how she was, you know, endangering not only herself, but the other members in the group. So I kind of can say that she was temperature checking Lee along the way. Again, she did mention to Lee that she looked up to her and that she aspired to be like her. And she was asking her questions like, if I was to get shot, would you film my photo of me getting shot? Would you film that? And Lee's like, well, what do you think? You know, making it seem as though she's tough-skinned and that she's going to do anything it takes to get the shot. So as Jesse is temper checking her, she is giving her validation or approval to be calculated and unconcerned or unbothered, unconcerned for the safety of the group. But at the end of the day, I still feel like you've been walking through this earth as long as you have 19, 20 years, however old you are, you still have your own mind and your own brain. How could one person in a brief interaction with them override your empathy, your ability to be cautious? It's just kind of probably already innate in her. Moving on to Sammy. Immediately when Sammy asked for this ride, I knew that he was going to be the Black Sacrifice. And if you don't know about the Black Sacrifice, this is something that I noticed in a lot of movies and shows that I watch. As a proclaimed patternist, I can't help but notice that in a lot of shows where there's danger, they will always have one Black person or mixed race person or person of color that will be the sacrifice for the redemption of the other group members. I knew when he went along for the ride that he was going to be the sacrifice. He was also the discernment, the conscience, and he was also the soul of the group. Oftentimes, Black people don't have the ability to be delusional or to be careless, reckless, or just carefree. And you notice along this ride that at every turn, Sammy was letting them know, you know what, we stopped off here. We probably should back up and go the other way. You know what, this doesn't feel good to me. Something is off about this. Am I the only one who's feeling like we're headed into the wrong? And he would keep telling them this, even at the point when they got to the guy with the red glasses, which is always telling them like, hey, we shouldn't do this. We shouldn't do that. Maybe we should back up and go another way. You know, he was worried about the safety of the group and wanting to actually get to the White House and complete the mission. But Jesse, she basically got him killed as far as I'm concerned. I also got a little annoyed with the way that Lee kept antagonizing Sammy, like making reference to him being old and saying, well, you're old, you can't run, and you're old, you can't get away quick enough. But I kept thinking to myself, you're in a war zone. Nobody can outrun a gun. Nobody can outrun a bullet. Nobody can outrun a bomb or a grenade or whatever. Older people have wisdom and they have intelligence. And while Sammy couldn't run, Sammy knew how to go get the car and be the getaway driver and saved all of their lives. Last thing I want to talk about is the guy with the red glasses. And I didn't think about this until later, but it's very interesting that they chose for him to wear these red glasses. Infer from that what you want. But in the trailer, you've seen the trailer at least, you know, he asked the question, well, what kind of American are you? In the movie, we get to see that conversation extended as he asked them, where are they from? I should give more context to it. The driver, so Joel, meets up with two of his friends who are both Asian. They kind of follow and they're trailing them along the way. And then all of a sudden they realize it's their friends as they pull up on the side of them. And Jesse decides to swap cars after Tony jumps into Joel and Sammy and Lee and Jesse's vehicle. Jesse's like, oh, I want to do it too. And she jumps into the other vehicle with the driver. So as they swap cars, then the Land Cruiser that has Jesse and Tony's friend speeds off and they speed ahead. And actually they lose them. And as they finally get up there, they come up on the Land Cruiser and realize that there's nobody in the Land Cruiser. This is when they come up on the guy with the red glasses. Now, Tony and his friend are Asian. Joel is probably Hispanic. Sammy is of some kind of mixed race or Black ethnicity, and the two girls, Lee and Jesse, are white. So when he's asking them, where are they from? Of course, Lee says she's from Colorado. Jesse says that she is from Missouri. And Joel says that he is from Florida. And he's like, oh, so you mean Central America? The inference is there. You know what I'm saying? They're inferring, even though they're not speaking to their race. And he's trying to make it about what part of the country are you from? The inference is that it's also about their ethnicity as well, their race. That's why Sammy was like, I don't think we should go over there. This isn't going to end well. They're probably going to kill us all. If we go over there, we should just go. Like Jesse and Lee weren't going to be in any danger because they were from Colorado and Missouri, which were American, murdered Tony's friend right away. And then Tony was next after he asked Tony where was he from, and Tony was like, oh, I'm from Hong Kong. And everybody's like, oh my God, now why would you say Hong Kong, honey? You already knew this man was shooting people on sight. So of course, Tony got unalive. Was getting ready to get Joel as well, but that's when Sammy pulled up, ran over him and the other military person that was with him, and knocked Jesse into this mass grave. Now they had already unalived a whole bunch of people, and there was this mass grave, which I thought was very disturbing. There's a whole lot of historical context as African Americans about mass graves, especially one that was just recently uncovered in Mississippi, but more mass graves have been revealed over time. There's actually a baby in the mass grave. So, of course, Sammy saved them, which ultimately got him shot, because when he plowed through the military guys and killed the guy with the red glasses, there was another one who was harmed, but he was able to get his gun and he started shooting at the car, and that's how Sammy got shot. So that part really just disturbed me. But the journalism along the way was a cool concept, because they were taking some really interesting photos. I don't want to say nice and good photos, because this is war. So this is people being tortured, beaten, images of, body parts. There are some scenes that are very, very graphic. Never thought about this idea of war journalists who go along in the presence of danger, and they're literally out there like, yeah, I'm here in the war zone, and photograph these pictures, which end up on Time magazine. And when they finally get to the White House, there is this scene where Jesse, once again, the military people are telling them like when to go, when not to go. She decides to go when they say don't go, so that she could get this perfect shot. And Lee sees that she's in a clear path to be struck. And as a result, she jumps out there and she throws herself in front of Jesse, throws her down. But as she gets up, of course, she gets shot. Jesse sits up. She's snapping her pictures as she sees that she gets shot. And then she just sits up and she has this blank look on her face. And then she just gets up and steps over her dead body. And that's when I was like, okay, I don't care how old this child is. I do not like her. I thought that was just super trash of her. I thought that the movie was a decent watch. I kind of would like to see it again, just to see if there were things that I missed, which I'm sure that there is. I would say don't go into it looking and expecting for a whole lot to be spelled out for you, because it won't be. And I think that that's probably a safer choice to keep tensions down. But infer from it what you will. You've got your own set of morals, your own conscience, your own brain, your own psyche. I've seen the movie. Tell me what you liked about it or what you didn't. I thought it was the closest that we could probably get to being in a war zone without actually being in any sort of danger. Seeing the White House and other parts of the U.S. in shambles and just crumbled, and it looking like some of the things that we see in other countries where there is war going on, was interesting to see. And I have some other perspectives, but I'll leave it at that.